I'm with Mark Osborne, who is the EMEA CISO for JLL. Now, I'm very excited to see where this interview goes, as we've both been told to try and limit the profanity. So, Mark, you
very
have...
hard for me.
Yeah, as we've discovered. So, I would say that you've been in your role as a CISO for longer than the average tenure of a normal CISO. So, either what's your secret or what's your take on the typical tenure of a CISO at the moment?
You know, I don't really agree. I've been in the role 4 years, and it's been a hard 4 years because I work in the remediation area. I like to, I'm more of a builder than I am a painter and decorator, if you know what I mean. I like to build infrastructures, improve things. Managing a system that someone else has built, it's not for me. And I only leave when the job's done or when I think I'm leaving a legacy behind. Mm-hmm. Other CISOs may have a different view. I can't comment on them. I think I'm unique, but recently I was told I wasn't. So you can always be disabused.
Why did you get told you're not unique?
Well, I see myself as CISO 2.0, if you like. I was starting in the security industry on the ground floor, and in those days you would be laying out an internet bank for the latest and greatest bank, and you'd be talking to the firewall administrator one day and the board the next. And so I'm a very hands-on person. I still can write code. I'm talking about artificial intelligence, and yet I talk to 28 boards of directors every week. So I think that's a unique bottom floor, top floor approach, and I don't think there's many people that can do that. But apparently fintech is one area where you do see it. So I was robustly disabused. I was told I was arrogant.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, but I am, so who cares?
So if somebody is watching and they want to understand what good security looks like, what would you say to them?
Well, I never liked the idea of good security because it's an ongoing process and you're never finished. The job is never finished. So when I interview staff, especially as I work on the improvement area of the market, I always ask them, what does bad security look like to you? And if they can grasp the day-to-day trials that a CISO will go through, that's dozens of phishing attacks, crypto viruses, people suing you, boards of directors with great ideas that maybe haven't considered all the risks. If they can embrace that, then I want to employ them. If they've got some storybook version of what good looks like, I'm kind of not interested because they will just fall by the wayside.
I've heard recently about companies that really go after candidates who have been part of a serious breach because they think they don't want to be part of it again. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Many years ago, I used to be working for a top-shelf consultancy. Believe it or not, I worked for a top-shelf consultancy.
I know you did.
Oh, really? You know that?
And I know what you did there.
Oh, yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and I used to say things like, I've broken into more banks than Jesse James, etc., etc. The reality is there's always been serious breaches, and I remember I was working for this one organisation that was a very pompous organisation, for want of a better word. They'd had a breach and they were, you know, it was an administrator making a simple mistake. And this guy was, you know, adamant that it didn't happen there. And the fact is it's happened everywhere. These days, you have to consider the post-breach reaction more perhaps than you do the defensive measures that you put in place. Because if you can't, you know, it's like the Italian tank. You need to go forwards very fast, but you need to go backwards very fast as well and be able to recover and be able to live another day. A good day is when you go back to work and you've still got a job. That's a good day.
Your role is across EMEA. Do you see any different trends in different countries?
Oh yes, without a doubt. If I compare myself, for example, to my American colleagues, GDPR, although it actually technically for a customer or an employee that might be stored in America, the Americans generally don't have a grasp on privacy regulations. Their laws are more technical than ours, but they don't have the privacy regulations that we have. And so now that they're beginning to get them, it's a bit of a culture shock. Within EMEA, it's within Central Europe, it's pretty similar. The governance rules that drive everything we do, the laws, Lord Cadbury said the balanced scorecard of corporate governance, and it's, you know, enshrined in the way we maintain our firm, is actually what drives security, and it's that makes it all similar. So outside of it, if you go to some of the more developing countries, it's a little bit more transparent than in your face like it is in mainland Europe. So that's a bit wobbly, but it does go to actually the point of what I'm saying. Everything we do in security should underpin shareholder values, which makes it linked to corporate governance, linked to the audit committee, linked to all our laws. It's not something different. It's not something trendy. Too many of the CISOs get hung up with password lengths and policies and things like that. It's not about that. It's about protecting the directors and protecting the customers and protecting the shareholders. Brilliant.
Now, if you're looking ahead to the next 12 months, what trends do you think we're going to see?
So this is where everyone turns off, because I think the trends that I've been battling against have been the same trends I battled with 20 years ago when I was a young, handsome penetration tester, believe it or not. These days it's the same things. The number two things that we'll get to, number two things, I should have said number three things, right? That makes more sense. But the two things that always keep me awake at night are viruses. Now, many CISOs dismiss this, but there's nothing more that will cause a CISO to get his cards given to him and shown the door than a virus. Now, we had it with CryptoLocker, we had it with PetraWrap, go back a decade, we had things like So Big and I Love You, and I'm not professing my love for you, it's the name of a virus. Yeah. You know, these people that ignore the basics, keeping the network going, are ignoring their core function. And again, I have people sending out inappropriate emails and things like that just because someone has sent them an email saying, can you send me the details of X? Now, we think we're very clever, but still the industry, you know, I have customers that don't have fancy crypto systems. They will send me an email saying, oh, I'm interested in this property. Can you send me the details? We have to be wary that we just don't fall foul to the digital equivalents of normal fraud. It happens all the time. And again, it goes back to what we were saying about not only making sure that we have secure systems, but we have robust financial controls, which is why I need 1 computer science degree and 3 business degrees, so that I can go and talk to the accounts department about their rules and why they're not abiding to their rules, and why fiduciary controls and governance may be falling over in health and safety and projects, because it's all intermingled. So that's 2, you're not getting a third. Well, if you want a third, get regulation. Now with GDPR, for my company, a major GDPR failing can actually result in a £200 million fine. Now, you can get a lot of viruses before you chalk up £200 million in losses. So that was longer than you expected, wasn't it?
Well, we squeezed 3 out of you.
Yeah, true. Well, yeah. Well, never let it be said that I can't talk the hind legs off a donkey.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming and doing that. And we're looking forward to your talk in a little while.
It was a delight.